You're listening to the BowHunterPlanet podcast, your gateway to the wonderful world of archery and bow hunting. The BowHunterPlanet podcast would like to thank our outdoor partners for their support. It's because of these companies we can keep this show educating, entertaining, and growing the archery heritage. Please check out these partners' links in the description of this podcast. Now, your hosts, Tim and Dave. Enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome to the BowHunterPlanet podcast. Today we got Chris Cobbett and Kenneth Lancaster, and today we are talking, well, we don't really know. This is kind of an open idea, and we're just like, you know what, let's talk about some product stuff, but also some hunts, blah, blah, blah. Chris went and made a coffee, so we're ready to go. We're going to bore you guys with some great hunting stories, but, you know, so let's do that, Chris. I guess you know what? I feel like every time I try to get a hold of you, you're busy hunting somewhere. So I guess tell us, what the hell have you been up to here?
That's a lie. That is the truth, it's half a truth. So my life is broken. My hunting life is broken into two categories. People that I take hunting for work, buyers, sponsors of our programs, and, you know, the midget army back at the house. You know, I got 4 kids and a wife. All hunt. So like I might be in the woods. I rarely get to go hunting myself. I'm actually going from we're in Oklahoma now. We were doing a hunt with one of the buyers that we work with, and I'm headed to Kansas next week, and I actually do have my own tag and hunting for myself next week in Kansas. So stay tuned on that deal. Is a professional hunter, has been his whole life, all the way back from, was working with some green game call company back in the day.
It was some Mississippi called Primos or something like that. And by the way, I have never met a professional hunter except for those guys that back up the bow hunters in Africa. With
with the
500 nitros. I consider those professional hunters. There's nothing professional about what I do other than get lucky every now and then.
Have fun.
No, that's crap. I'll call that right out. It's a war room. It's like trail camera photos and charts and graphs and you know, check the weather and, you know, these massive blinds. And he just got back from like having some local welder make rebar things so he can stake blinds down more efficiently. So that's not like by chance.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you a funny story real quick. So we're in Oklahoma. I shot a deer out here. Oh, I can't even remember how long it's been now. It's been 5 days ago. I've been here so long with my bow. Muzzleloader season opened. Well, muzzleloader season opened on the 23rd. Chris came in with the buyer on the 22nd. And they actually shot day before yesterday, I think, is whenever y'all killed your deer. He was actually sitting with it's a deer named Floppy. He had 5 on one side and 4 on the other, but he got there a funny way. He had a big fork and anyway, this is what I was getting to. So we've got this other deer that I have been trying to kill, and we call him the Little 8. He's not that little, but we call him the Little 8.
What are you trying to do to the deer?
I'm trying to shoot him.
Oh, I think you said kill it.
Kill it. Yeah, that's what in the South. We kill stuff.
Kill stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so yesterday at noon, my producer Matt Covington and I decided we were going to go out and put a pop-up blind up. We had a southeast wind. We're going to get on this side of where this deer has been coming out, because he's been coming out too far for us for a muzzleloader. He's been coming out like 600 yards. So we had this perfect plan made for yesterday. Well, little did we know, it got up to 90 degrees for one thing. Well, we go in, put that blind up, left. We were so proud of how we had it staked down. Everything was great. We're walking down the fence road, and we looked up ahead where the blind was at, and I'm not kidding. It looked like a hot air balloon in the air. Just sitting this in the air. It was a sustained 35-mile-an-hour wind yesterday. So when we got there, the blind literally was 2 feet off of the ground. The only thing that was holding it was where I had tied it to a barbed wire fence, and it the back of the blind up, and it was just sitting there in the air. If it hadn't been for that barbed wire fence, it would have been in Kansas somewhere. But anyway, so we ended up taking the blind down and moving to a totally different spot. So just a little bit ago, I went over to my buddy over here that has a local welding shop, and I had some 20-inch rebar, 3/8 rebar cut with a bend in it so I can stake those blinds down. If it pulls those 20-inch rebar stakes out of the ground, I don't need to be in that blind.
You were flying.
Yeah, no kidding. It almost took me off the ground yesterday whenever I was trying to get that thing folded up. You should have seen us fighting that thing.
Oh, God. It's like the worst. That's the worst. I hate doing that. If you don't know the mechanics of the quickness of like how they fall, like everyone's different too. That's what sucks about ground blinds is like everyone's different. Oh, you push the top in first, then the sides. The other one's the sides, then the top. So if you do it wrong or out of step, it doesn't just literally fold. And now you're out there for like hours just trying to get this thing to bend. I spent one time, I bought one. I don't know which brand it was, but I bought it and I literally spent, I would say, an hour before I realized I wasn't going to close it. And I was so mad, I just threw it in the back of my truck. This just happened like a couple months ago. I'm like, this is bull crap. I'm like, this is supposed to be easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's all.
I had to watch a YouTube video on it, like how to do it.
It's a good lesson to learn, though. I taught all my kids, I said, when things in life are hard or difficult, you should give up.
He's not lying.
I thought about sitting in front of my truck and just riding over it a couple times just to be like, spite you.
The warranty. Yeah.
I did set one up out here last year during muzzleloader season and came back to bow hunt later, pulled up there to hunt it. And that was in December of last year. And I still don't know where it's at. Literally gone. That's how bad the wind gets out here. So
that's so funny.
How can we? What should we talk about? This is like the 3rd or 4th podcast that we've done with it. He's a big deal in the podcast world.
Oh,
now.
I know he is.
Everybody, all Dell and Nugent, all people on there now.
The thing is, guys, is everybody comes on the show, gives some hints of what's coming on in 22. So I mean, you got the platform here, talk about it. So what are we going to see? What's new from Xpedition?
Oh, okay. So the problem with Xpedition Enterprises now is that we got like 1 million divisions, and which is great. So I got a couple. We can cover a couple different ones. I can tell you one right off the bat. This coat. Brand new, never been seen, world premiere. Matter of fact, this is like the sample. They sent 2 over. I happened to be standing there. One just happened to be in Mark Hex size, and one happened to be in me size. So we did not have one in child large. So Kenneth couldn't get one.
Yeah, do me a favor. Just run your hand right here on Chris and let me know, is that rubberized or?
So what that is, so like it's so that your backpacks don't fall off. It's grip.
Oh, a little grippy.
Your sling or whatever.
Or a bow sling, it won't slip off. You can lean over and it won't.
Been using that gray matter in there. Think of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's funny because one time I was at I realized I didn't know this. I was watching a military video and these guys were talking about their shirt for military, and it was made. They had a right here. They had a pocket for a pen. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. There's just like right under the collar is like a pen thing. No one ever knew it. In the military, they didn't know why that was there. And someone's like, "Dude, that's to put your pen, so you can like carry a pen." And they're like, "What?" So like,
see, yeah, learn things every day. I actually learned that the phone, the little back when they had pay phones, they were actually designed for the phones to be flipped the other way. Yeah. A lot tighter if you do it like that. Of course, they don't even exist anymore. Everybody has like satellites on their phone. But so we'll start with that. So, but of course, I mean, let's just talk about that for a second. I mean, Xpedition Enterprises. I mean, we started it 4 years ago, and really with nothing. Like when we started with Xpedition bows, we had spare parts in the back of a truck container. That's all we had. And we had like 0 employees.
Wow.
And we had to learn how to make bows, and we sent some of our land management guys down to learn how to make a bow. And it was, but from that day, you know, today Xpedition Enterprises is, I think it's 5 divisions strong. You know, we have Xpedition Archery, we have Xpedition Crossbows, we have the Given Right television show, Flash, Behind the Season, which is our digital series on Realtree 365, shameless Realtree plug. We have a marketing division, or I think we have 10 guys in the marketing division right now. We make so much of what you see on outdoor television in terms of sizzle reels, print ads, commercials, like that's coming out of our office. So we have a marketing division. We have a newly formed sales division. We have what we call our outdoor business solutions group. And I can elaborate a little bit more on each of these, but basically it's a sales entity. And those guys, they work for our brands. And then we're also employed by about a dozen other brands that our guys go out and represent. So we have all of that. And we have Element Clothing. And then we have a sourcing company where we help other companies more efficiently make their products.
Yeah, there's,
Awesome.
I don't know if I was trying to catch everything you were saying there, but
That's how I remember it.
we also, and you may have said this, but we have editors that edit just south of 10 television shows across the network. So we have editors that do that as well. So some of the shows that you're watching, other than the Given Right, are edited by us, by Xpedition Media would be.
Yeah.
Who's doing that.
So we do each of those things. So
I think you guys need to start editing my show. What's going on with this?
can't do that any better. You know, how are we gonna fix that?
Thank you.
We do a podcast, though. So on the manufacturing side, I'll do Element first because that's the easiest. I mean, Element has just, of all the things that we've done, other than, of course, I forgot that other little company that we do with the Tacticam guys, Reveal Cell Cam.
Yeah, that little camera company that we have. Yeah.
But other than that, Element Clothing has absolutely been on fire for us. I mean, we started that. We've only had that brand a little over 2 years, and it's in its second year as a sales cycle. It's literally carried in every major retailer in the country. I mean, we struggled to bring in enough clothes to meet all of our orders, to produce all of those goods, to be able to deliver them. It's a great problem to have, and that we hit the market at just the right time, and we saturated it very quickly. People have been nothing but happy with the garments. Mark Heck, our owner, tells me literally every other day, mostly if I had to average it, probably every day would be the norm, that we didn't order enough, we didn't bring in enough, we didn't produce enough clothes. So there's our issue, but we're in constant product development. You know, when you see things, you talk about like the grip there so the sling doesn't fall off. You know, a lot of people say that. It's a claim that a lot of companies say, and I'm sure they mean it. I'm sure it's true when they say it as well. But our product is very much designed by in the field, die-in-the-wool hunters, because we have a team of those people. Everybody in our organization, I think we've got 40 employees now. All of them hunt, all of them. And so you've got all these people in the field. You know, we get a lot of hands-on. Hey, if something doesn't work, and look, nobody's perfect. Things do happen. Like there are things that can be made better, right? Like if you're in the hunting world and you're on the manufacturing side, welcome to the job that's never done, and you can always do better.
Oh yeah.
So constant innovation, right? Again, it's no different than this. A lot of people are hunting in blinds, you know? So we make a lot of products in black. We make them in solids. Casual wear in hunting garments is becoming super popular, i.e. this cool jacket that I'm wearing. Like all of that stuff takes place. You know, in terms of the garments, yes, bigger offering, new items, couple new features, but what put that company on the map, other than looking awesome, is Polygene, is the odor crunch technology that we use. I mean, if you've seen any of our commercials, if you're familiar with Element, what we do for scent elimination in that clothing is different than anything out there. And I oversimplify it by saying, everybody understands carbon, right? Like I'll use my cup, see my prop that I brought. So carbon is real simple, and nobody can argue that carbon isn't effective. It does exactly what carbon is supposed to do. It absorbs odor caused by dying bacteria, right? Body odor, that kind of stuff, right? A carbon molecule will just suck all that odor in until it saturates, till the cup is full. When the cup is full, it stops doing that. It only works on antimicrobials, and it stops when the cup's full. You can heat it, you put it in the dryer, do that whole deal, purge it, and it works. You can only wash your suit so many times, though. Every time you wash it, it dirties that molecule. It does it a little less effectively. Polygene never saturates. It basically processes it, brings odor in, breaks it down, basically exhales it as a neutral odor. It never saturates. You can wash it 100 times. It's as good at wash 100 as it is wash number 1, and it works on all ambient odor, not just antimicrobial. So the dog that you went up against, the exhaust fume that you walked by, the little bit of manure that was stuck on the side of your truck, all of that stuff, it works on. That's why it's a better mousetrap. So just in hunting clothing's expensive enough, but you got to have something that's going to last longer, right? If you're going to make that kind of investment. So that's, one of the reasons that Element has done well. That and Kenneth and Mark are out product testing it all the time, not me.
Yeah, whatever. He's right. That's something we will not take something to market unless we take and just beat it up. We took some stuff Mark and I did to Alaska back in when was that? Back in June,
I think.
May or June, somewhere
No,
in
it's
there.
turkey season, because I was so pumped you guys left the contiguous 40.
Yeah. So we took some of the new garments to Alaska. They dropped us off on a beach out there for 10 days, and it rained 9.5 to the 10, and we stayed in a tent out there, and tried out some of it was interesting. I could get into that one pretty deep. Had a brown bear come into camp, and I had to shoot over the top of his head with a 10mm pistol at 6 steps to run him off.
Wow.
Really got Western real quick. He tore our tents up and ate all our food, everything. It was
You can see it. It's on Behind the Season on Realtree 365.
And that show will actually air the last 2 episodes of Q4 on The Given Right. You can watch it there too. But we took Element there and wore it, like I said, for 10 days. And I'm no kidding, it rained 9.5 of those 10 days. We had one day that we saw sunshine while we were there, and we stayed dry and stayed warm. And the new stuff that's out is really good. We were able to take 2 really nice bears while we were there, and it worked.
That's what it's all about. That's the update really on Element. You'll see all the new stuff in stores. I mean, every major retailer bought it. So I mean, you don't have to wonder where it's at. And pretty much you go in anywhere, any reputable retailer in this country, you can get it at this point. Of course, and if you can't, you tell them it must not be a reputable retailer. so Element's really good. We're excited about the growth of that. So on the other manufacturing side, I'll do the easier one, crossbows. Crossbows, that market continues to grow for us. I mean, I think we talked about that before. It was really, we got into crossbows really kind of on a whim. Quite frankly, we had a lot of dealers that they were, our guys were going in and making presentations, and our brand is still growing. It's not mature yet. So a lot of shops, we're a second line of bows for them. So they only have room for one of those, right? And they're like, well, we could take you, or we could take another competitor of yours. And we were losing that battle sometimes to companies that had bows and crossbows as one manufacturer. So we literally only, started making a couple crossbows just to be able to win that fight. And what it turned into was just an explosion. Like the The crossbows are awesome. They've done well. They've been popular. We targeted a price point we thought that had been ignored by other manufacturers. People were selling like really cheap crossbows. They were selling really, really expensive ones. And quite frankly, you can build a lot of great performance into a crossbow at a mid price point. So that's what we went after. We're on our second revision of crossbows. So we have the Viking X380 and the X430. Shockingly, they shoot 380 and 430. That's how we name stuff around here. Keep it simple. If you shot them, I mean, you can get online and look at, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there and independent reviews that'll take our with the 430, which is our top end crossbow right now, and they'll put it against $3,000, $4,000 crossbows and back them up 80 yards, and it will dial just, you know.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to shoot a deer or anything else at 86 yards with a crossbow. Don't get me wrong. But we got a video from some of our friends.
We can say that. This is the BowHunterPlanet.
So, who is the ex-Primos guys that I grew up with, hunted with all my life, Keith Burgess and Chris Ashley and Cody Kelly. They live right there around my hometown there in Mississippi. Well, we sponsor them with crossbows. So we sent them the new, did they have the 430 or the 380?
No, they actually were shooting. So our price point crossbow, they were shooting the 380 at 86 yards. And he's got the video of, I'm telling you,
they were just wadding them up like this. Yeah.
Jeez. That's
and
crazy.
He sent us the video and he was like, man, this isn't fair. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it shoots. I mean, if you can hold it there and squeeze it, it's got a super crisp trigger on it. If you're a crossbow guy or girl or gal, they shoot great.
Yep. Yeah.
And looking at those bows, just looking at, for those who are wondering, if you go look at the website and you look at the X30 compared to the X380, I feel like you're gaining a lot between the two bows for not a lot of money. So like you have one that says retails $599 for the
oh yeah
380.
yeah it's like $100 more to jump and we did that because quite frankly some people it's not about, I mean, a 430 obviously shoots a little bit faster, it's got a little bit longer power stroke, but the reality is it's a little bit longer unit. Some guys like that. I prefer that. I feel more comfortable with it. Some guys like the subcompact. They like short, narrow. So that's what the 380 does. So both of those are out there. They're most major retailers at this point. They're available online pretty much from any great online retailer. They're everywhere you want to find them.
And real quick, Chris, when it comes to the crossbow market, how do you guys feel about, and not to name names of other companies by any means here, but like, how do we feel about as an industry, like 500 feet per second and up type stuff? Because I'm not seeing that besides maybe one company doing something that along those lines. But is that something that crossbow companies, at least from your perspective, are actually trying to achieve? Or is that something where you're saying, I don't know, that might be out of bounds?
No, for sure. Like, I don't have a problem with, I mean, there's no secret. People are going to continue to push the envelope, especially Xpedition. Our niche has been with bows that we do speed smooth. That's what we do. That's our niche, right? We try to make fast bows that shoot smooth. It's no different in the cross market. You can make fast crossbows, right? There's things you can do to manipulate the crossbow to make it shoot as fast as you really want. But can it be done accurately? Can it be done with minimal shock? Like, those are the kind of things that have to be done. Of course, we're working on those things. Of course, we're working on those things. You're going to see some of those kind of things come out within 12, 15 months. We're going to push the envelope on speed for sure, but we're going to do it in a way that is accurate and is comfortable to shoot. Because that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have a great bow or crossbow that shoots fast, if all you do is miss. So we want to make sure that it's comfortable, it has a good user experience with it. So yeah, we're pushing the envelope on that. We're pushing the envelope on a couple different styles of crossbows as we look and assess the market and see what people are doing. So you'll see one, if not two new crossbows from us in 2022. One for sure, maybe two, if all the secret squirrel stuff comes true. But yeah, speed's definitely one thing that people are, all crossbow companies are trying to push it. But I will tell you this, verify those speeds. Crossbows, let me tell you something you probably know. So the crossbow guys, we're in the crossbow market. It's like living on an island with no rules. Measuring speed in the archery industry, in the vertical bows, we go by IBO, right? Like everybody's got a standard length of the arrow and the weight and all of that. It is none of that stuff in crossbows. They could put a dart in there and shoot it. So guys, there's no standard measurement of how you're doing your crossbow, how you're getting your speeds. When you put a real hunting bolt in there and run it through a chrono, you're going to find that the speeds that our crossbows are rated for, that's what you're going to get. So when we tell you something shoots whatever we say in the future, you can bet dimes to donuts that it actually shoots that.
I'd like to see them come out with some way to monitor that, like they do with the IBO speed of pounds, 350 grain arrow at 30 inches. That's IBO. Yeah. On a vertical bow. I'd like for them to come out with it, and the length of pull is such and such, and the arrow weight is such and such, so you can compare apples to apples across the board. I think you should come up with that. Yeah, I think you should.
We do ours at 2970, and we do the same arrow weight for every bow manufacturer. So the reason we do it that way is, we looked at the average length of someone pulling a bow, and 29 was the average we found. So we said, all right, well, if we have a 29-inch draw, if we have, this is what the average hunter would have, and then we have a 29, we have 350, 450, 550, 650, or whatever arrow weights against all the brands. This is what happens. So at the end of the year, when I do the bow comparison, I show those charts, and people know it's not the IBO way, but I don't care about that. From my perspective, I want the hunting way. So for me, if I'm buying that bow as a hunter, I want to go out and do it the hunting way. Believe me, I get a lot of flack for this. People are like, "Wow, just do it to 30, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, but that's not what the average hunter is going to do. I don't want to do something that's just for numbers and for show. So I think one of the ideas would be for manufacturers to consider the fact to say, in a hunting rig, it's this, but I totally understand. The problem is if at a hunting rig you're at 305 or 320, and you really want to promote it at 340 because you feel like you can't fall behind in the category, I get it. And that's why at the IBO, a 330-inch draw and 70 pounds and 300 grain arrow, you're getting, whatever it is, right? You're getting that 350, 340. I get it. But the problem is when we do it the real way, at least the hunting way, the hunters call it out all the time. Like, oh, that's 30 feet per second slower in their, marketing. And I'm like, well, we don't do it the same way as them. So
that's one of the cool things about Xpedition is if our bows, I'm not saying anything about any other bows, but the Xpedition bows, if it comes at 29, it is a 29. It's a dead 29. It's not 29 and a quarter. It's not 29.
Yeah.
29.
That's a good point too.
And the cams are built to be more efficient too. So if you go down to a 28-inch draw and go up to a heavier arrow, the efficiency of that cam is going to keep that speed up more than some of the other bows. Not going to name them, but just the efficiency that is built into that cam will keep those speeds up a little bit more. And your kinetic energy as well with the Xpedition bows than some of the other bows. And I've shot them all. So
maybe we should start a new category, Chris, and you could put the IBO rating, and then underneath that, real small, you put the BHP rating. Yeah, it's a little different speed, the hunting way,
Yeah, I encourage those sort of things because we spend a lot of time trying to do it right. So we're not afraid when somebody wants to do some head-to-head testing. I like that stuff. We encourage those opportunities. So what's new on the Xpedition Archery side? We had a very good year in Xpedition Archery. We put out a lot of bows. We put a lot of bows in places that we hadn't previously been. So they're showing up. The sort of a national branding is starting to take hold. You know, we show in a lot of different places. We've done several price point bows now. You know, early back in the day, you and I used to talk about the Mountaineer. The Mountaineer was a bow that we did. Basically, it was a lower price point bow, but it was the exact same quality we put in any other Xpedition bow, but we did it to expose more people to the brand. We've continued to do that. Even this year, we launched the APX. The APX is in a lot of places. We made a lot of them. We're going to keep that line for a couple of years. We introduced our version of a youth bow or a teen bow, the Experience. And again, we think for that category, it's the hammer. I mean, I think it's the best bow you're going to put in a kid's hands, even an early teen. They can hunt with it. They can target shoot with it. They're going to be highly efficient in any of those things. On the top end, this year we launched the X series, which was our Magnite. Our only issue with Magnite is we couldn't make them quick enough. The bows, you know, people were out in the market shooting them, loving them. We quite frankly weren't prepared. I guess I can admit that we weren't prepared for the demand that we were going to see with that bow. You know, we thought, you know, when you introduce something innovative, even if it's something that works, it takes years. I mean, you look at, I used to use the example of the Whisker Biscuit. It was a great idea, you know, for that type of shooter. Yeah, it's a great idea. Everybody uses it. Well, you look at the sales history of that company, and it was like, it plateaued. It was stagnant the first couple of years, barely sales, and then boom, like year 3, it just everybody had one. It takes people a while to catch on to something, even when it's a good idea. So we thought, well, you know, it's going to be a 2-year process where people figure out what Magnite is and you know, how we use it in a bow and what it can truly do to a bow. And the reality is that it was way more popular than anticipated. We couldn't make them fast enough. It was a fault that we are working diligently to rectify as we go into 2022. We'll be prepared so that we can meet the demand when we have a cool product like that. We're going to put out some additional models in that, maybe.
I'm actually shooting a bow right now that'll be released later this year. That's called a and it's IBO rifle.
Yeah.
500. Holy cow! How'd you guys do this?
Yeah,
this is crazy.
I elk hunted with it, and I shot my whitetail. I shot an elk with it, and I shot a whitetail with it out here, and
they'll be gone the day we launch. We only made like 300 of them, but it'll be the fastest production bow ever in history.
Can I guess some things? I'm going to guess some things. You don't have to say yes or no. You can just hear me out. This is just my guess of what's going to happen in Xpedition coming up here. I'm going to think you're going to launch it might not be called this, but I'm going to throw it out there, the X31. So I'm going to suggest you're going to throw a bow out here that's going to be between 350 and 365 in 31-inch draw. Then I'm thinking you're going to take X-Loy and put it all over your crossbows. Just me throwing that out there. Don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm going to say that's probably coming because it's done so well. And at the same time, I do want to say great job on this, because having your own category of a bow now. So you have carbon, you have aluminum, and now you have this X-Loy. It's like its own thing. So like, you know, Xpedition now has a category that you guys, I believe, are the only ones that can do that or use it. Because I believe
you watch. I would bet everything I own that everybody's launching their bows in the next couple of months. This is what we do. This is our public service that we provide to the archery industry. Xpedition traditionally, like, we try to push the envelope, but we're small companies. It takes a while for people to hear about it. And then companies much larger than us go, you know what, that was a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then a year later, they have something very similar. It's shocking how that's happened to us.
Yeah.
The bow that I'm shooting right now, we may have to do it like, I'm a big Bronco fan. I have a 76 model Bronco that I did
nice.
And so when the new Broncos came out this past year, you had to you actually had to order them ahead of time, and they only sold a certain amount of them. So whenever we bring this bow out, we may have to, because it's such a small quantity, we may have to pre-sell those bows before we actually may have to treat it.
They're going to be gone in 30 seconds. And here's a little secret, a little, like in movies, sometimes there's something in the background, a cast member gets seen that shouldn't have, or a prop guy, and so that you watch the movie to find it.
Yeah.
So here's a secret. If you watch Behind the Season on Real Truth 365, there's actually, that bow is in use and shown on one of the episodes. I even think they
like this idea.
I think they even use the name. So it is out. It is out there. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
It's like the Waldo guy.
I want to say something bad. I mean, it's
nothing out of you.
It's
Kenneth
killing me.
Lancaster. So that's what's coming on the vertical bow side, crossbows. And then, but here's the cool thing. So, and this is just us girls talk. So one of the coolest things that we do is not the manufacturing stuff, in my opinion, because I mean, Dave knows I'm a marketing guy at heart, and it's the other stuff that we do, like with Heath Graham's group, like on the marketing side, even on the sales side, like that to me has always been the coolest part. Like to see something that you designed or made and an idea, and then either see it like out on TV or wherever, or just a product that you guys represent, and all of a sudden now it's in the marketplace, and you go to the store and it's there, and you're like, I was with those guys. We came up with
cool.
That stuff that's the stuff that gets me out of bed in the morning. And like, so with our marketing division, that started out with like, I was doing a lot of it, which is never what you want to do. To have one person doing marketing, because I think I have a good idea, but then everybody else doesn't. So, and I was doing it, and then we got Heath, who's already doing his own thing, and we kind of merged all of our forces. And I mean, I think we have something like 35 clients. So much what I see in print and on TV and digital, like I know where that came from. Like I love that stuff. It's as much as designing products and putting them out there is super cool, and I love doing it. I love seeing the influence on the industry, right?
I like watching outdoor television and looking at it and going, that's our commercial. We built that commercial.
Yeah, that's cool.
We built that commercial. We edited that show. We edited that show. We edited that show. And, but like, we have The Given Right, which is our, our show. And, but we have these other shows that, I feel like that we're helping, I mean, they're great people, but, they become great friends of ours. They lean on us for Chris's advice of his, Chris had a TV show back in 1947.
You can Google it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, was it 47 or 48? I can't remember what year it was.
Can't get it off.
so they lean on Chris a lot for, for ideas on, we have producers that they lean on a lot for, ways of shooting things different and how to make their shows better. And not that the shows aren't great already, don't get me wrong, but we just have such really good working relationships with those shows. And it also, some of those shows have some really good places to hunt, and I'm going to go hunt with them a little bit this year.
Yeah, that is true. That's a model that we're going to do. We're trying to be, even more collegial with other shows that we work with. We have one of the things that we do, and it's not a secret anymore, I guess, is one of the things that we do on the marketing side is we have 93 television shows under contract. We do work, sponsorship, and through influencers with 93 shows. And it's a lot of work. I know, because my wife handles all of that stuff. That's probably you have to call when you want something. So she handles all of that stuff. But because of that, we're trying to be more collegial. If we see opportunities to share camps, that stuff we're doing more of, and it's valuable. It's time well spent. So we're doing a bunch of that stuff, and I like it. I just like being part of this. And so our owner, Mark Hack, and myself, for whatever reason, probably because everybody else has got like real jobs and are working hard, we get tasked when we're working with a new company or if we're looking at a new sponsor, we end up making those presentations. And he always reminds me, because I forget, I guess I just take it for granted, but one of the most important things to talk about in those presentations is everything in it we made. Like everything came in-house, like from our guys, from our team. And it reminds me of that, and I remember to take great pride in that. Like every video, every sizzle, every commercial on there, even the presentation came from our team, and it wasn't, we outsourced nothing from concept, which is the hardest part. Doing the creative, you know this because you do this kind of stuff too. Doing the creative is the hardest part. What's it going to look like? What's the tack that you're going to take? You know,
Yeah.
Going to attack a market with something, right? And that's the hardest part. Keith Graham is amazing. I will give him all the props. He takes my crappy napkin ideas and I give it to him, and then he makes it look awesome, and I get to go, you know, yeah, it's my he takes a napkin drawing and he turns it into awesomeness. Like if you look at all those reveal commercials, they're very loose concepts when I give them to him, and they're polished, awesome commercials.
We got to put some props to Cody Berry too. Now we
Oh,
can't leave
yeah.
Cody out of that.
We could just go down the list.
Yeah,
There's
Cody,
like so many
Cody's
guys.
Heath's right-hand man, and he's very talented. So I just didn't want Cody to see this podcast and me not.
We don't even know Cody works. Cody's like the face of Texas trophy hunters now.
Oh yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah,
So we do a bunch of work for those guys. He makes all the commercials. Well, guess who's on them? Cody Berry.
Cody Berry. Yeah. Yep.
We enjoy
I was thinking about Tacticam a little bit. I just I recorded my own little video of it this past weekend. I'm going to post soon, but I basically we had this camera in one spot and we're getting deer on it, but nothing major. And I walked this edge on the way out of my hunting spot, and I noticed that once you get over the ridge, this hill on the way out, there's like this dirt mountain path of like deer prints. So I'm like, wow, like maybe I got that camera in the wrong spot. But when you're hunting, you can't see over this hill, when you're hunting. So you're sitting back there, you never see these deer. Then I noticed there was a scrape. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to push this camera like somewhere by this scrape and just move it. So I took it from my right, took it 80 yards up this alfalfa field line, put the camera on the edge, and sure enough, like deer all over it. Like, it's like, so now we're like, it's just, this is important because this gives you the opportunity now to make your change and what you need to do. Like right now, I got to really figure this out because there's no trees to get in a tree stand. I'm thinking like ghost blind or something. I have no idea what I'm thinking right now because this is nowhere near where I'm hunting, but it's on the same line. So now it's like, I got to get the heck over there, but it's all ground level. Now I got to figure it out. But my point is being able to use that camera to know that right now from here was really helpful.
Oh yeah, and if it was any other brand, you would never known that.
No.
No other
Very
camera
true.
that data.
No.
100%. But that was just that again. That's another cool project. Like we talk about it. It's the same thing with all the other companies. Reveal is no different than Element. Element, we attacked the market and basically said, hey, look at Polygene. Polygene's our way in the door. Xpedition, it was doing innovative things. Reveal, guys, there's a lot of people that make cell cameras. It's not a new concept, right? Jeff Peel came and he's like, hey, we want to work together as a team and take this project to market. And we just said, look, why is everyone not using a cell camera, right? Like who wouldn't want a picture to come to their phone? Everybody would.
Yeah.
Why is the bulk of, people at that point still using regular cameras? It was one of two reasons. Either it was price or it was the technology. Like a lot of people, a lot of cameras, not calling out any names. I'm just saying every camera I had tried, I couldn't get it to work. Like I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get the thing to connect to my phone. It didn't work out, right? And it turned a lot of people off and they didn't do it. And so, Jeff brought a camera that said, hey, this is the great price point. But then more importantly, it was easy to use. You opened it up, you scanned it with your phone, it was set up and you walked away. If it took you 45 seconds, you're like, you did something wrong. And that message, all it had to do was get out. right? So then our team says, okay, how are we going to market this thing? And instead of just an A-level strategy, getting the top names, and we do use top names for some of our brands, but in that case, it was about bandwidth. It was about how do we let everybody know the quickest, fastest. And so we went with a different strategy. We went and involved the 93 shows that we work with. I mean, most of those shows are not the guys, they're not the Kenneth Lancasters of the world, okay? They're the guys that are, they're like I was back in the day. They're just grinding it out, trying to make a hunting show. And there was a lot of those guys, but it's like the ants that move the leaf, right? Like as a group, those guys, they have a ton of influence because they all have their own followers and their own niche. And when you engage that whole group, that's how Reveal came to be. You know, we moved the first 70,000 units of that before any commercial ever hit TV, before any print ad ever hit. So all done through just grassroots efforts. And that's the stuff that excites me as a marketing guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that, to be honest, I mean, keeping it simple here, it's low cost, it works, it's easy to set up, and, you know, you can get a couple of them for the price you were paying for one of another model, right? And it's pretty cheap to maintain. So, and one of the things that you guys are launching or just launching is this power solar part for it, or for one of the models. But my whole thing is, to be honest, my lithium batteries do pretty dang well. I mean, getting me through. And I was going to ask you about that. Like, how the heck are these cameras so efficient? I don't get it.
Well, it's because you're in Michigan. You're in Michigan, right?
True.
Picture of a deal like once every other week. And batteries are gonna last forever.
Don't take that from you.
I'm from New England.
Deer's so small that the energy is not a lot.
I'm from Maine. We're like, look, we should test batteries up there. They'll last for 7 years. They're never going to take a picture. So, no, they're good. How do you like the marketing campaign on that? Like, we just launched a bunch of social ads, like all the things you'd rather be doing besides changing batteries.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. No, I love the idea of the solar panels. Absolutely going to add them to mine, because I mean, why not? Especially not to ever touch it again. That's really important. Keep your scent away from it completely. But that's the one thing I love the most about them now, is I don't have to touch anything for the most part. I go past it, you know, unless I move it or something like that. I try to keep my greasy hands off that baby.
Yeah.
Makes
a difference.
So in a nutshell, that's all that we've got going on. How's the state of the industry, Dave? You're a guy that talks to everybody. I mean, what can we expect? How about you be on it? We'll interview you. What's the state of the industry? Oh, great one.
Industry's popping. I've never seen it like this before. A lot of bow manufacturers sold out. Majority of them are sold out. Can't get bows from anyone. I think you still owe me 2 bows. I mean, there's so many bows like backlogged. It's not even funny. And it's a great thing. It's one of the best things for the industry. Putting aside my issues, it doesn't matter because we're just media. But for the industry itself, I'm seeing tons of money being flown around. We're getting more sponsorships than we've ever had. I mean, it's a lot different than it used to be. And the fact that companies are making money and bows are selling. This is very important for the heritage of archery. And, you know, to keep it going long term, this is what was needed. And COVID, probably the best thing that ever happened to the archery industry in the weirdest of ways. Not for obviously people who passed away. I'm sorry for them. But when it comes to business, it projected that and the gun manufacturers into a whole new level. As we talked about SIG and had SIG on the show, CVA, they're all selling, you know, this type of stuff. This is all great because it's more outdoorsmen, men and women, right? It's just tons of people getting involved and getting outside. So I see it as one of this. Hopefully 22 is even better than 21, which is going to be hard to believe, but I do feel like we're on pace for that. And companies are gearing up for it now. You guys understand what you need to do, especially like you were saying, you didn't think of this or that for volume. That's all gone now. Now you already know what's going to happen, what you're projecting, and, you know, hopefully make some magic.
Right. That's right. I forgot you had Tom on the show.
Yes, he was great. I got that. And then it dawned on me when I was talking to him about what you and I talked about the crossbow scopes and things of that nature, because you mentioned it, but you didn't say a lot. And then when he told us about them, I'm like, that's what Chris was talking about. It's like
the coolest. We're making a video next week in Kansas to show. We actually did an exclusive. I guess I'm not afraid to talk. We did an exclusive for Sportsman's Warehouse with it. they wanted our 430 with that SIG BDX on it, largely because we did a hunt with those guys and they were like, whoa, wait, what's that? I mean, if I'm sure Tom talked about it dumbs down long distance shooting for anyone. You can put on a rifle. It works amazing on a crossbow. You could, I mean, not that you should want to be shooting 87 yards, but I mean, even for me, like even at 30, 40, 50, which I think are fine for a crossbow, no distance is perfect. So you click it with your rangefinder or your binos that has the system. It drops the dot down. Whatever the dot is, you shoot it. You don't have to worry about, is the line the 30-yard mark and the deer's at 32? Do I go a little high, a little low? Doesn't matter. Whatever the dot is exactly what it is. If it's at 32 yards, 2 yards. And we've
incredible.
Been nothing but impressed with it. And Tom, I saw Tom do his only second ever podcast. And like nervous at the beginning, and by the end, you know, he was liking that. Like
he knows the stuff. He's great, man. He's had so much experience in the industry. It's incredible. And I think that's the kind of person who can talk to anything like that. And to have him want to join a bow hunting podcast was really important to me, because it meant that they understand that, you know, archers carry pistols too. You know what I mean? Like, don't forget about us. We're here. We're big, and we're you know, we want to buy a 6 Sauer too, you know, just like anybody else who's outdoors, men or women, right? So that was great to have him do that. A lot of companies like that don't even reply back to me, you know. So that was great.
The dirty little secret about, I'll tell you the dirty little secret about SIG's in my backyard. They're like an hour away. It's a huge company, lots of employees, big industry presence. But the number of guys that are really at the helm of that, they're super approachable. It's a small number of guys. You could put them in one little conference room, one table like this, and have dinner with them. And they're all just like Tom. They're all cool guys to talk to. They're a big sponsor of the Give and Right. You know, we fish with some of those guys. They're just good.
Awesome.
People think that they're this giant unapproachable company, and they're not. They're really just. They're just like me and you. They're really no different.
Some of their employees, I've gotten to know them pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
They're bow hunters. I mean, they're not, you know, they're not just gun guys, which I'm a gun guy too. I love my gun, but I love my bow and arrows, you know. So they're the same way. I mean, just because they build guns doesn't mean they're not, you know, doesn't mean they're not.
Yeah. All right. Chris, Kenneth, thanks a lot, guys. Xpedition Enterprises. We'll look forward to seeing the new models coming up, and we'll be in touch. So thank you, guys.
Hey, real quick. The Give and Right Sportsman's Channel, 7:30 Tuesday night, 7:30 Central, Tuesday nights on Sportsman's Channel. Had to get that in there.
Don't miss it. All right, we'll see you guys.
This has been a presentation of BowHunterPlanet.com. Join the hunt.